Hello, everyone. Sorry about the long gap since the last one for this one, but let's just say this was one I want to make sure that I was going to find a good time to do so because, well, let's just say you better get yourself comfortable watching this because we're going to be here for a little while. There's also quite a bit, for a couple reasons. One, there's quite a bit to discuss when it comes to this dungeon, both in lore, but also in regards to its relevancy back in the day. The other is because of how long it is. It is a very large dungeon with lots of bosses because back in the day, this was a 10-man raid. Nowadays, it's split into 5-man dungeons, like basically cut in half, sort of. Like, I can't really show it to you here, but you could be able to, say, queue up for a wing that has, just the first, I don't know, 5 bosses or so. Like, I've been in wings where it will put you here, and then you'll kind of take care of the bosses, here, up to this guy, and another wing, Shadowforge City, where you can kind of queue up to just kind of start right here and then just go here and do the last 4 bosses. Yeah, that's kind of how it is these days. But yeah, you can see what I'm talking about. This is a very large place with lots of bosses. It's probably likely I'm going to get lost trying to go through this place and show you guys all the bosses because this map is not entirely helpful to be able to fully navigate this place. I also don't necessarily have in-depth knowledge about all the stuff that happened in regards to how this place worked in terms of things you could do back in the day. Although I do know that this place was a place you had to go to a lot and utilize quite a bit for a number of reasons because of how interconnected it is to a number of things. This place is a very important area, but then again, every place in this mountain here, Blackrock Mountain, which, by the way, I'm just kind of showing you guys from right here. I'm currently in Elwyn Forest, as you can see. I'm only starting here because I wanted you to see, this is how it looks from here. The moment I enter the zone, look what happens. Oh my gosh, the sky is on fire! Everything's burning, even the moon is orange now! Blood moon rising! I just love how hilarious it is that the color of the whole area changes once you enter this area. I know it's the burning steps, but for goodness sakes, it's just silly. Anyways. But yeah, just as a little recap, this place is very much connected to quite a bit of the story of this zone, going back a long time, because, well, this also very much, there's so much to talk about when it comes to this. How, a lot of this started from a long time ago, when it came to a lot of the wars and such involving the clans and the dwarves, especially the Dark Irons. And a certain sorcerer named Thorasan, not the one we're going to be encountering today, but rather his ancestor, Sorcerer Thane Thorasan, who was trying to summon a powerful elemental to help. And he did the ritual wrong, as in he basically forced it to happen in an improper manner, and he accidentally summoned Ragnaros. Which caused all of this destruction. All of this happened because of the massive explosion of power that happened from summoning Ragnaros, as opposed to just a powerful elemental. It's the difference in a warlock doing a ritual properly to summon just a Felguard or a Pit Lord. Or, I guess, the equivalent in this case, you're just trying to summon a Felguard to serve you, and you accidentally summon Archimond. Just oops. Yeah, a lot of people died and caused a lot of this place. And that, of course, led to Ragnaros staying in the Molten Core to recover for a long period of time. And while that was the case, and while that happened, the Dark Irons basically became servants of Ragnaros, And of course, there's the whole thing about the Dark Irons versus those who were serving Nefarian, and that that goes into the raids. But that's not what we're here today. I've already done videos about those two raids. I probably didn't do a great job of explaining the lore about those and why that was so interconnected, why it was so important to the story of vanilla. Like, this place has is such a pivotal place for the story of vanilla WoW. It's amazing how much import it is, considering Ragnaros, Onyxia, and Nefarian, and all the stuff from that and their servants. But, that was Thane Thoroson, the sorcerer who accidentally did that. However, the person we're going to be encountering today is his descendant. And his name is Dagran. Emperor Dagran Thoroson. At least I think that's how you pronounce it. And during that time, there was quite a bit of conflict between the Bronzebeards, the Wildhammers, and the Dark Irons. I believe there are some other sub-clans of the dwarves, but those are the three main big clans. If you go to Ironforge City right now, those are the three main clans that have the council and are trying to lead the dwarven people, because there has not been a high king for a very long time. And, they are instead doing this council thing to kind of avoid a possible secession crisis as well. And, there's a whole thing about the politics and such. But, yeah, well, that's something that I believe I talked about in regards to what's going on currently with the dwarves when we did the Dwarven Starting Zone. Instead, what we are going to be talking about is the story of this dungeon and why we're here. Why are we going into the Blackrock Depths? Well, for one thing, this was one of the main ways to actually get into the Molten Core raid, because, of course, we were trying to get in there and stop him, Ragnaros, from fully recovering. And I say that because I've already showed you guys that this is, the way to get into the Molten Core now is you just go over here, which, you just go over here and you talk to this Blood Elf over here, and he sends you into the Molten Core. But that's not how it worked back in the day. Back in the day, from what I understand, you had to go through this whole thing, trying to make sure you went through it correctly, this whole winding pathway, and you had to go down this chain, and then you had to go through this doorway over here, because this is what led you to the dungeon we are going to be going to today. And the reason that that's important, it shows the Molten Core thing there, but again, there's no actual entrance right here. You literally have to talk to this guy, because the only other way to actually find an entrance into this place is over here. So you would go into the dungeon, and you could actually enter the raid from right over here. Because the idea was that they are guarding the entrance to the Molten Core, protecting Ragnaros and the Molten Core from outsiders. It's in order to get inside the Molten Core, you had to get through everything in the Shadowforge City and get to Thoroson to acquire access to the Molten Core to get to Ragnaros, because they were protecting him. They were defending him because they serve him and worship him. And I want to give, of course, a shout out to the dwarven gentleman known as hold on a second. I want to make sure I get his name correctly. Shadowforge. Oops. City Architect. No, not that. It's giving me the name of an NPC. That's currently in the game. Hold on. Designer. Hold on. Let me see if I can actually find the name of the gentleman who designed this. Make sure I get it correct. I think his name is Daglorn Forgewright. I just want to double check whether or not that's true. Because I believe that is his name. And the reason I want to make sure I get that out because I just want to, stress something that's kind of important. This is an entire city inside of a volcanic mountain. Do I really need to, go into, detail as to why that is such an incredible feat from the perspective of engineering and architecture? Like, just think about what somehow goes into that. Like, that's just incredible. All right, let me change, I want to make sure. And Shadowforge City. Yep, I was right. Forge right. Yeah, wow, just brilliant. And this is not the only incredible feat that he helped design and such, but I'm sure some people who are much more into engineering than I am. I can talk, I swear. Can probably be able to just take a moment to really think about what would go into that. Like trying to somehow create an entire city within a volcanic mountain. Just insane. Now, I'm sure that there is probably some magic involved. This is Warcraft, after all. To be able to help make sure that things stayed fine, but still, just my goodness. Alright, so I was pretty sure that the quests here were still up for this character. This is one of the things I gotta make sure I double check before I actually start doing these, although there's gonna be a point where this is no longer an issue. Because, yeah, there were quests in here, because of course there were. This was vanilla, after all. So, let me take a moment to explain why we are here. It's not just about Ragnaros. But, let me go ahead and give you the background of the gentleman that runs this place. The Emperor of Shadowforge City. Mr. Emperor Dagran Thoroson ruled the Dark Iron Clan with a combination of charisma, sorcery, and iron will. He ruled his people not from the city founded and named for his ancestor, but rather from the depths of Blackrock Mountain near the entrance to Ragnaros' domain, the Molten Core. The Dark Iron swarm the depths of Blackrock Mountain and have also been seen in the Searing Gorge to the north, and the Burning Steppes to the south. Even as the leader of his clan, he was, like all Dark Iron dwarves, a servant of Ragnaros. However, while Thoroson delighted in the power that Ragnaros had bestowed upon him, he bristled at his servitude to the Fire Lord. When Ragnaros ordered Thoroson to prepare the Dark Irons for a new war, the Emperor was overjoyed. He had long dreamed of conquering the other dwarf clans, not only to rule over them, but also to wield their combined power to break free of the Fire Lord's control. The Emperor kidnapped King Magni Bronzebeard's daughter, Princess Moira Bronzebeard, intending to use her as a hostage of last resort once the war began. He believed that Magni would never consider assaulting Blackrock Mountain if it meant putting Moira in harm's way. Thoroson found himself falling in love with Moira. She had a sharp wit and strong will, and was not intimidated in the slightest by her predicament. The two dwarves began to speak at length about their hopes for the future, and Thoroson confided in Moira that he wanted to free his people from enslavement, and was willing to do anything to achieve that. Moira, too, soon fell in love with him because he treated her with the respect due her position, and even kindness and affection. She became pregnant with his child, who is half Bronzebeard dwarf and half Dark Iron dwarf, and the heir to both thrones of Shadowforge and Ironforge. Now it talks about his weapon. Dagran wielded the legendary hammer Iron Foe, but not by legitimate means. The hammer's hereditary owner, Reginald Windsor, was captured and imprisoned by the Dark Irons, his weapon claimed by Dagran. He also sent his emissaries and agents to the gnomish capital of Gnomrigon, apparently in an effort to back the self-proclaimed ruler of Gnomrigon, Thermoplug. King Magni sent a team to kill Emperor Thoroson and retrieve the previously thought to be ensorcelled Moira back to Ironforge. Yet Moira refused to come home and announced that she was pregnant and that the death of her husband has left a terrible fiery rage within her heart. So yeah, it's a spoiler for the end. But I bring that up because a couple things to note. One, it has been debated because that was kind of the perception from the outside that Magni thought, oh, he's kidnapped my poor daughter Moira. And what actually happens now, in lore, it says he reaches out to the Alliance to, send in a team of heroes, us, to go into Sourforge City and rescue her from Thoroson and kill him and save Moira. What also happens is, in lore, if you are playing on the Horde side, what actually also happens is the idea that Magni is so desperate to save his daughter that he is willing to reach out to champions of the Horde and plead with them to save his daughter. He's that desperate because, of course, Magni wasn't a great father, but that doesn't mean he didn't love her. He just didn't exactly, act as the best father to her. But he did, of course, still cared about his daughter. But he believed this was all a horrible scheme on the part of Thoroson, and, that it was all a kidnapping. When it's also probably likely that maybe she was a little bit more willing to go with him, considering that, Magni wasn't a great dad, and Moira had problems with the Bronzebeards and, her father, and let's just say, she was at that point where she was probably more willing to get away from, her dad and be with this perhaps charming and, rather, she probably started to look upon Dagran with a bit more of a positive outlook and probably felt more attracted to him as time went on. After all, it's said there that they kind of fell in love with each other, that what started off with her as a hostage had them spend time together, and he started to confide in her and trust in her, and she became sympathetic to him and his people to the point where they both fell in love. And, I suppose that during the time that she was here, they decided to have a ceremony and officially get married, since, it's labeled that she was his wife, and they had a child. And you can see that child in Ironforge City nowadays. For a long time, he's been, his model has been just a little baby in a carriage, but I think the last time I went there, I think I saw that he was now just this little boy, so he's growing. So I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to do anything with him later on, considering how important he kind of is when it comes to the political landscape of all the Dwarven people. But since it says he is considered the quote-unquote rightful heir for both Shadowforge as well as Ironforge. I also want to remind you that these days the Dark Irons are now officially a part of the Alliance, and we can actually play as Dark Iron Dwarves. Just kind of pointing that out. I considered actually doing this on my Alliance Shaman, which is a Draenei, but I think she's only level 37, whereas my Volpera here, Shaman here, is level 60. So, but I wanted to go ahead and just kind of point that out, that the Horde, had a reason to be here if you're a Horde character. That Magni was pleading with us to do that. Plus, of course, if we were going to help try and take down Ragnaros, we had to deal with Thoroson first. So, anyways.
We will always remember Kargath Bladefist for what he once was to the Horde. He was one of the finest warriors to ever live. Even the Alliance recognizes this. The Kargath Expeditionary Force was named in his honor, and I plan to ensure that we live up to his name. We will drive out the Dark Iron Dwarves and claim Blackrock Mountain, and all of the surrounding areas, for the Horde as they so rightfully belong. You will be the War Chief's blade against Thoroson. Wear that honor proudly.
Who you be?
The Twilight's Hammer be here for some reason. We don't know why, but Thaltrak be letting you in on a little secret of ours. The rogue Lex Lord waits outside the hall, where High Interrogator Gerstan's be, so he can kill her if he gets the chance. She's too smart for that, though. So you're gonna go and do it, yeah? Go talk to Lex Lord and let him know. I'm sure he'll be okay with it.
Be seeing ya.
Yeah, there are several quests in here because, like I said, of course there are.
What's up? Pleasure doing business with ya.
At one end of the Dark Iron Highway stands a massive gate, much like the one that protects Shadowforge City on the opposite side. However, we have no idea what's behind it. All we know is that it's heavily guarded by Anvil Rage patrols and the Molten Giant Baelgar. You simply must dispose of them and see if you can pry that gate open. Just imagine what could lie behind it. There could be an entire other half of the city we never knew about. Or nothing. Who knows? Though it's probably something.
Keep it real.
Actually, I'll talk about it in a moment when we get there, because, well, anyways.
For years I've sought a certain gem. It's called the Heart of the Mountain, and it's the size of your fist. The Dark Iron Dwarves have it locked in their vault, and try as I may, they won't let me purchase it. So I must resort to force. Fight your way to the Black Vault near the Hall of Crafting, breach its secret safe, and gain the heart. To do that, you must defeat Watchman Doomgrip, and he won't appear until you've opened every other coffer in the vault. Good luck.
I'm probably not going to do all these quests, because I think some of these require stuff that I probably don't have or don't know how to do, so...
What brings you here?
We are fighting a losing battle right now, I'm afraid. The Dark Irons would be difficult to defeat on their own, but their elemental allies have given them new bleeding-edge warriors that we simply can't compete with. I need you to help us infiltrate their domain and kill as many of their vital leaders as possible. Hopefully that will shock their forces and turn the tide in our favor. Report to Razal Blade for further instruction. He's stationed beyond this gate and to the right.
Ancestors watch over you.
I think that was all of them, wasn't it? I think so. Of course, there are the elementals around here, because of course we're so close to where the Molten Core is.
Relax.
Beyond this door lies the command of the Dark Iron Army, surrounded by trained soldiers. Are you up for a little killing?
Spirits be with you, man.
General Angerforge and Golem Lord Argulmark are directly responsible for the horrific slaughter of the 109th Division of the Kargath Expeditionary Force. There were a lot of good trolls and orcs in that division, many of them my close friends. Well, young Volpera, it's time for our fallen brothers to at last have their revenge. Unlock the Shadowforge lock. Go up the stairs and bear left until you reach the West Garrison. Kill Angerforge and Angelmark. And don't you dare show them any mercy.
Be seeing ya.
Keep in mind that they don't know what Volperas are at this point in time. So I'm hoping that these quests are actually going to help me locate where some of these bosses are, because like I said, this place is gargantuan and it's very easy to get lost in here. Like, very easy. And that's part of the reason I'm doing this on my shaman. There's a couple reasons why I'm on my shaman here. One, to be able to use Ghost Wolf to get around this place faster. The other is because, of course, I'm trying to get Iron Foe. Yeah. I would not mind having that. There was another item that I wanted to get. It was, hold on. This right here, the Circle of Flame. But fortunately, I already got that on one of my other cloth characters. So, that's nice. So, as far as, like, in terms of other loot that I would not mind collecting, Iron Foe is basically the only one left that I actually would not mind having. It's like, those were basically... Oh, there was also this. I was going to say those are basically like two of the only purple items in here, but then there's that, but I don't really care about that, honestly. So, Baelgar. The monstrous molten giant Baelgar lumbers across the Dark Iron Highway, a summoning feat. Actually, let me read the basic bio here before we start doing the bosses. The smoldering Blackrock depths are home to the Dark Iron Dwarves and their Emperor Dagran Thorasan. Like his predecessors, he serves under the iron rule of Ragnaros, the Fire Lord, a merciless being summoned into the world centuries ago. The presence of chaotic elementals has attracted Twilight's Hammer cultists to the mountain domain. Along with Ragnaros' servants, they have pushed the dwarves towards increasingly destructive ends that could soon spell doom for all of Azeroth. The monstrous molten giant Baelgar lumbers across the Dark Iron Highway, a stunning feat of dwarven engineering carved into Blackrock depths. Ragnaros pulled the giant from the heart of the Firelands to guard a massive sealed door at one end of the highway. According to legend, only the Fire Lord and the Dark Iron Clan's highest-ranking members know what lies beyond the mysterious gate. To this day, we do not know what is behind that door. We absolutely have never found out what's beyond it. So yeah, he's got... players who strike Baelgar with melee will suffer fire damage, so you had to be careful because it's stacked up 3 times. He inflicts fire damage to all players in a random location and summons a spawn of Baelgar that will aid him in battle. And yeah, I'm guessing those hit like a truck back in the day. I mean, that's not bad. Having that melee attacks have a chance to blast the target for fire damage, that's not bad. I'm sure that was pretty great back in the day. I'm just chuckling that that's considered an upgrade. But yeah, you'll see, you can't even go past this door. So to this day, we do not know what is behind that door. It will forever be one of the greatest mysteries ever in WoW. It's a secret that will probably be kept forever. Or they probably just never decided what was behind there, and they're just like, I don't know. What's behind the door? We just thought it sounded cool, that there was some kind of mystery, and we'd never reveal it, because, you know.
Hey, how you doing?
Darn it, I simply have to know what's behind that gate. This could be the discovery that makes my career, you know? Maybe a couple good explosives would do the trick.
Nope. Nothing. Not a thing. So, this is one of the reasons why I reminded you guys that the Dark Irons are now part of the Alliance and are playable races. I just want to point that out because this was a time where they were pretty awful. Like, they were a pretty evil group. Because, as you can see, they had people kind of trapped here as a prisoner, enslaved. You can see this guy is just labeled as a slave. And he's just trapped here in this pit with this grate over him. And there's a number of them throughout this whole area. This is basically... this is the detention block. This is the prison area. Yeah. Lots of trash in here for us to fight.
Strength and honor.
Get over here. If you blow my cover, I swear to the war chief I'll kill you where you stand.
For the Horde.
Gerstan is too heavily guarded and too smart to leave her post, so I'm not gonna kill her. You are. I'll throw in a little something I picked up off a guard to make it worth your while.
Farewell.
So, yeah, that's another thing. The Twilight Hammer is here. Because, yeah. The Twilight's Hammer cultist, Gerstan, has always indulged in life's finer things. Exotic foods, fine clothes, and gem-encrusted torture tools. Day and night, her prisoners' blood-curdling cries echo throughout the Dark Iron Clan's infamous detention block. Gerstan proudly calls this horrific noise her symphony of screams, and she is always eager to add another voice to the chorus. She reminds me of that guy in the Sith Inquisitor storyline from Star Wars: The Old Republic, who took such joy in torturing and interrogating his victims. Where if you play a dark side Sith and you're like, oh, I just want to help join you in savoring all the screams. He's like, oh, I know, it's so hard to stop once you get going, but no, I've got things under control here. That's just fine. Thank you very much. You can go now. So yeah, and she's here along with a separate torturer. Because, of course. So, she has Shadow Shield, Shadow Word Pain, Psychic Scream Amber. So she's basically a priest. You're basically fighting a priest alongside her dogs here and her torturer. So, yeah. We have to upgrade this character's bags later. Here's some more prisoners. Another one right here. Just a dwarf, just in the wall. Just carved out a little area in the wall, just with the little grate there. Lovely. Just lovely. So before we go back, there's something else here, and that is that... Well, let's just say this kind of reminds me of, let's say if you were a prisoner in Rome, and they were like, we're sending you into the Colosseum. We'll get to that in a second, though. I've been so used to just being ignored by lower level stuff that I'm just a little surprised, like, oh my gosh, I'm actually aggroing them.
Speak.
The Twilight Hammer's presence only complicates our mission here further, but you've done up your part for now. You've earned a reward for your efforts, and some rest. Let's get out of here.
Victory.
So I think... I'm trying to remember how to trigger this. Oh, I think it's over here, actually. I ran the other way. Silly me. I think it's... Is it over here? Yeah, it is, because you can open this door. Well, hello, Commander Gorshak. Apparently I can't talk to him right now. I'm trying to... or is it over here? There's another boss, it's like right over here. This is one of the things about that's confusing about the map in this area. Like, there's supposed to be another boss, like, right here. Not right there. Hold on. Am I just in the wrong place? I think I am. Yeah, I am. It's over here. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I'm in the wrong place. I thought it was over here. This is what I'm talking about, how this place can get very confusing. It's such a maze. It gets so, like... I'm like, I'm so, like, at times just feel so lost in this place. Like, at least in the queue dungeon you can queue up for, it makes it a little easier to not get lost in this place. Here we go. The Ring of the Law. I don't know why it keeps going to that. There is only one punishment for crimes committed against the Dark Iron Dwarves. Death. Ancient tradition calls for the guilty to pay the blood price in the Ring of the Law by battling savage creatures gathered from across Azeroth. To date, it is unknown if anyone has ever survived this brutal crucible. Let's see, I'm trying to remember how exactly do I trigger this. There we go. You have been sentenced to death for crimes against the Dark Iron Nation. The sons of Thorson shall watch you perish in the Ring of the Law. That is High Justice Grimstone. Look at all the bosses here, and look at all the ones that are bonus objectives. Unleash the fury, and let it be done! So notice how that gate locks behind us. And here come even more. Ha! I bet you thought you were done! But a real punishment lies ahead. That's my trinket kind of going nuts. This trinket. Good riddance. Gorosh the Dervish. Well, what do you know? I got the Savage Gladiator chain. Alright, well that just leaves one purple item left to go. I would be so happy if it actually drops here on camera. So now this is the upper area of the Ring of the Law. The Shrine of Thoroson. A elemental gate.
I don't have a target.
So now over here is another. Another boss. Whoops. Pyromancer Lorgrain. Once a respected member of the Earthen Ring, Lorgrain joined the Twilight's Hammer cult for reasons that remain a mystery to his former allies. He eventually journeyed to Blackrock Depths, where he took a sudden interest in the famed Dark Iron architect, Franklorn Forgewright. So that was the guy I was looking up. So Forgewright was the name. Franklorn. Sorry, Franklorn Forgewright. That's the name of the guy who designed this place. The architect who designed this place. The purpose of his current obsession is unclear, but Lorgrain remains loyal to his cult and an enemy to all who oppose it. And as you can see, he's with the Twilight Hammer because you can see the elemental gates. And yeah, so he has Scorching Totem, Flame Shock, Molten Blast, and Fire Ward. So yeah. So now you can see from here, like we would be over here and we'd be able to now kind of run over to, I guess in this direction if we wanted to, just kind of like, yeah. Just kind of still looking here. I'm trying to avoid skipping any bosses over here. So, let me take a moment to just kind of double check that I'm not skipping anyone over here in this area. Oh, wrong way, sorry. This is one of the reasons I like getting Spirit Wolf, as well as having Spirit Walk, just to be able to make Ghost Wolf even better. Lots of bloodhounds, but I'm not seeing... Oh, is he over here? The Houndmaster? Well, there's that other boss over there. Lord Rockor. Oh, yeah, I think the Houndmaster will be around here somewhere. But I guess we'll deal with Lord Rockor right now. Lord Rockor loathes the... Hold on. Lord Rockor loathes the scheming and backstabbing of his fellow fire elementals. To avoid serving alongside his kind in the Molten Core, the mighty being purposely angered the Fire Lord. Rockor's risky gambit paid off. He was expelled from the core and forced to guard Blackrock Depths in isolation. Ground Tremor, Earth Shock, Flame Shock. is the Hound Master? He's supposed to be over here somewhere. Is he inside? No, he is not. Oh, here he is. Derp. Alright. Houndmaster Grebmar. Grebmar Fleabeard's hounds are the only family he's ever known. Long ago, the orphan dwarf began breeding canines to serve as companions and guard dogs. When the Houndmaster isn't patrolling Blackrock depths with his loyal beasts, he often treats them to Grim Guzzler's finest dark iron ale. Not sure, given your dog's alcohol is a good idea, but then again, these are bloodhounds, so... So he had dual-wield demoralizing shout, pummel, he pops bloodlust for him and his dogs, and he has run away, which he will flee at 15 health remaining. So if he aggroes more stuff while he runs away, well, good luck at that point. Alright, so I think the easy way is to go across the highway, which maybe I'll just go ahead and show you what the highway looks like. Because you're probably going, what was you talking about when you mentioned him guarding the highway or being on one end of it? Well, let me go ahead and give you an idea what I'm talking about over here. So this whole thing right here. This is the Dark Iron Highway. Now what's interesting is that apparently this doesn't go to the surface. This just kind of goes from where to that door that he was guarding, which then you have the lock in those areas there, to then over here to open this gate. So yeah, that's why you then go over here to be able to hit that mechanism to be able to try and unlock the gate, or you can try and enter a different way. So, and you can see what I mean about how, you know, a lot of people, from what I know, a lot of people I'm sure did not like this place, and I kind of don't blame them because of how this place can just get very kind of confusing and frustrating to get around, considering how large it is. Because, man, oh man, this is a big place. Very big place. Very confusing at times. Which is one of the reasons why I want to be on my shaman. I probably could have done it on my druid, but I felt more comfy doing this on my shaman. Not to mention, of course, as I mentioned, I want to get Iron Foe. So then we make our way into the city. Again, look at this place. Now, this is not the first dwarven city that we have seen inside of a volcanic mountain, you know, considering that, you know, or rather underground. Because I guess this is not the same as, say, Orzammar in Dragon Age Origins, because that's just, like, deep underground, whereas this is inside of a volcano, which is, as I said before, a whole different thing. But anyways, I think I went the wrong way. What a surprise. I got lost and went the wrong way. And this takes me to this area here. Whatever. I think this is going to be the way to get to that next boss over there. Or maybe it's over there, actually. But anyways. Hammered Patron. Yeah, we'll get there. Alright, so yeah, it's on the other side. Silly me. I was like, wait, what? Oh. Derp. So yeah, okay, so he's over there. Alright. Actually, let's just go over here. since apparently this guy is going to be right over here. Yeah, this is where the warden is. This is the Black Vault. This is where this other quest is. Alright, where is he? Warden Stilgis. After years of dedication to Emperor Thorison, the cunning mage Stilgis was entrusted with protecting his clan's coffers in the Black Vault. The loyal dwarf's close friend, Houndmaster Grebmar, celebrated the occasion by gifting one of his vicious dogs, Varric, to Stilgis. The mage has put the beast to good use, keeping it at his side to scare off the vault's would-be thieves. So he's a frost mage. He's got Frost Nova, Frost Bolt, Frost Armor, Frost Ward. Varric does Curse of Blood, Thrash, and Enrage. So yeah. I imagine this was not a easy fight to deal with back in the day. So yeah, you can see here that in order to open these, you would need to collect these keys, which apparently I do have some keys. But in order to open this, apparently you have to unlock all of these, according to that goblin we talked to. Which has a lot of things like coins and gems. Because apparently the heart of the mountain is in this thing. But he says it won't appear until you have opened every relic coffer inside the vault. So you have to go around and kill a lot of trash in order to be able to get this. So yeah, we're not going to finish this quest. I'm not going to bother doing that. So now let's head back so I can show you the other bosses on the other side. I need to go back to where the Ring of Law was. This way, and then we'll go the other direction. Since what I was supposed to do was go that way, not this way. But again, the way that this map changes all the time in order to be able to not always show me what my actual position was is a little frustrating. Which is why, as I said, it's very easy to get lost in this place. But I wanted to show you guys all the bosses in here, you know, just to be able to be as thorough as I can be, because I like to be thorough when it comes to my content. So then we would fight through this trash, and then we would go this way. Make our way towards these other bosses over here. Again, you kind of see, like, out some of these places. There's the highway. We're basically going over the big gate we just saw earlier to the other side to be able to get to the other locking mechanism to open it and enter the city. That's kind of the idea here. Like, imagine doing this as a 10-man raid back in the days of Vanilla WoW, or if you were doing this in, say, WoW Classic. Like, I can just imagine, like, back then, this was, like, very epic. Like, considering this was basically almost the equivalent of a raid. Not a full 40-man like the Molten Core was, but a 10-man raid like the other ones we have done recently, like Dire Maul and such. So, General Angerforge. Through a lifetime of study, General Angerforge has become an expert on dwarven military history and tactics. He recently incurred Emperor Dagon Thorison's fury by writing a scathing treatise on his clan's failures in past conflicts. This political blunder aside, Angerforge is a dark iron to his core. He will bleed and die if necessary to protect his people and his emperor. So he has, you know, reservists and medics with him in this fight. He has Enrage, Sunder Armor, and Flurry. So yeah, he's, you know, probably pretty tanky. His battle axe. So then we head our way through the manufacturer. The manufactory, thank you. And this is Golem Lord Argomach. Argomach's lifelong obsession with immortality, thank you, drove him to forge enchanted constructs in his own image. Rumor has it that he has also dabbled in some form of black magic that would allow the Golem Lord's new creations to act as vessels for his spirit should his flesh and blood body be destroyed. You can see the golems and constructs are also going to be part of this fight. He's got chain lightning shock and lightning shield.
Intruders in the manufactory! My constructs will destroy you!
You can actually get there's a schematic here. You cannot comprehend any of the technical mumbo-jumbo on this scroll of the Field Repair Bot 74A. So now we enter through the city a different way. This way. Above the area where the as you can see, the gates to head our way over here, and we enter the Grim Guzzler. How many of you recognize this place? Every time the Brewfest happens, right? Just to go ahead and show it off for a moment. I have both of the Brewfest mounts. Took me a little while to get those. From what I understand, this was, I love the goblins here that are basically the band. This was a place that also noticed the succubi that are here basically as, well, Nagmara, have any mutton left? I guess that shake and smack was her answer. We've got Ribley Screwpigget and his cronies. I like how they're just labeled Ribley's cronies. But notice how they're all yellow. That's kind of important because, well, let's just say there was a way to be able to deal with this area without actually possibly triggering this place. But you'll also notice there's another quest right here.
You got my attention.
Look at all these different quests here.
Very good.
Because you could actually come over here
Watch
and you could trade in different things
off with
to
you.
him.
What's on your mind?
For every 10 pieces, you get favor with the Brotherhood.
Watch your back.
So you could do so with Dark Iron Fate, or Fiery Cores, Lava Cores, Core Leathers, Blood of the Mountain. Yeah. You'll also probably notice a few other named people here.
Oh, ale, I would kill for some ale. Quick, I'm getting sober. I know this because sobriety blurs my vision. It's making you look like the Volpera I slew last week.
I love it.
Very good.
Plugger Spaz Ring.
Drink up, there's more where that came from. Try that boar, it's my new recipe.
So, you'll probably notice that he is a boss here. They say that at the Grim Guzzler, everyone knows your name. This sense of camaraderie is due to the hard work of Spazring, a leper gnome who sought a new life in Blackrock depths after the fall of Gnomragon. Despite his history of dabbling with evil as a warlock... His dabbling with evil as a warlock? I don't think that's worded right. I think what that's trying to say is despite his history of dabbling with evil works... or evil things, or evil something as a warlock, considering that there is a succubus here basically as a waitress. He takes pride in his job as the tavern's barkeep, making sure that his patrons' mugs never run dry. We can actually talk to her. Welcome to the Grim Guzzler. Yeah, I would imagine that right now she is, yeah. So I can grab a couple of these and be like, hey.
Interest you on a pint?
What's this? Oh, it smells like dark iron ale. Oh, drink is blood massage, but I can tell that you, my lady, are a real friend.
And you could just kind of keep giving that to him for some reason. There's also these boars. But there's guzzling patrons. Now, there's also something else here. Phalanx.
I do not enjoy conversation.
He's also a boss here. Until recently, drunken brawls raged within the Grim Guzzler on an almost daily basis. Barkeep Plugger Spazring has reduced the frequency of these scuffles with Phalanx, a mighty golem bouncer programmed to maintain order in the tavern and eliminate raucous patrons with extreme force. Now, this is why I brought this up. Requires the Grim Guzzler key. Now, you may be going, well, where's the Grim Guzzler key? Now, if you're on a rogue, from what I understand, on a rogue, you could just come over here to Spazring, because I believe he is the one who has the key, and you could just pickpocket him. You'll also notice he has demon armor up as a buff, because, of course, that was a thing for warlocks back in the day. Well, I'm not a warlock, I am a shaman.
Oh, don't bother me, shaman. I have 2 whole cauldrons of bubbling brew here, and I must ensure that they just taste just right. If they don't, then Master Corin Diabrew will flay and boil me. May I help you taste? Oh, I wouldn't do this on any other day, but I'm thirsty and I hate drinking alone. Bottoms up.
Cheers. Horse. Acrid smoke clings to your throat.
Not bad, but it's Mrs. Spice. How about adding some scorpion venom? Yes, that'll fix it right up. Let's taste some more. My throat. Oh, this is good stuff, but I think that's a little flat. Let's round it with a few squishy basilisk eyeballs. Let's taste some more.
It's shaping up. Like, how many times can you just do this? We just keep going, another drink! Let's sing along. Let's drink. Let's drink. Let's drink. I'm feeling groggy. Oh, man. So you can actually talk to him and be like, hello, would you like to buy some of my stuff here? So yeah, you can be able to talk with him and be able to, yeah. So, unfortunately, because I am not a rogue, I cannot show you guys what it's like to just simply pickpocket the key and just leave. So, there's only one other possible option to be able to get out of here. To get through that door. I'm now so drunk. Oh no, everyone's turned hostile on me! Because, yeah, I killed the barkeep, so now everyone's hostile to me! Ah! Ah! So, yeah, Phalanx now goes to the door. He's like, we are Halt! There are reports of a disturbance! We are investigating! Everyone comes in, ready to be like, hey! What's going on in here?
I am out of range. I require a target.
So yeah, you basically have to do that just to be able to get access to the door, but you'll also notice that they just kind of open the door themselves because I had just killed the barkeep. Now, it looks like there are a couple more bosses I could actually show you that I didn't before. I'm just trying to remember how to get back down there. You'll probably recognize that area. Sorry about the blurry vision. I'm a little intoxicated, what can I say? A little bit too much to drink. Let me see, because this is actually one of the ways to get around this place. Into the domicile, which takes me back over here. Which I believe, now that I remember, yeah, this will take me over here. This is where the Black Vault was, but also, more importantly, this also lets me go down over here to where Insidious is. So we go past these areas. Once we deal with the Black Vault, we go this way to this area over here, into the Hall of Crafting with other constructs here, and someone else who will be facing. And it's that man right there. That is Phineas Darkfire. Chief Architect Phineas Darkfire earned his title by passing off the ideas of more gifted masons as his own. His arrogance and scheming have drawn the ire of his predecessor, Franclorn Forgeright, from beyond the grave. The ghost of the late Chief Architect seeks to reclaim his incredibly powerful hammer, Ironfell, from Darkfire before it can be used for ill. I don't recall if there is anything here in regards to us helping that, but my bags are getting full. I may have to go back to the entrance and empty out my bags. So you'll probably notice this area, right? If you've made a Dark Iron Dwarf at this point, you probably recognize this area. That anvil there. And it is currently guarded by that guy there, Lord Incendius. Baron Geddon taught Incendius to harness his destructive powers, but the Baron never expected his protege to grow so lethally efficient. Increasingly wary that Insidious might usurp him, Geddon sent the blazing elemental out of the molten core to guard the Dark Iron Dwarf's fabled black anvil. So yeah, let's just say this guy was a warm-up for players back in the day before you took on Baron Geddon in the molten core. So yeah, he's got Firestorm, Fire Burst, Mighty Blow, and Curse of the Elemental Lord. I cannot be destroyed. By the will of Ragnaros, I shall be reborn. So yeah, now we can just run back through here, I think. Or did I not reopen? Yeah, I didn't know. I forgot that apparently I have to hit something else to actually open this. Otherwise, it will not open. That's where we were before. So maybe I should have sold my stuff here before I killed the barkeep. Since he was like one of the only actual guys that could actually, you know, let me sell stuff. I'm so drunk. Just picture this wolf just kind of like running, just like wobbling, like that's some good ale in there. So, I don't know, I may be in a bit of an issue, a bit of a pickle here, unless I just start deleting stuff from my bags. But yeah, now we'll run back this way. After we clear everything out here. Okay. I'm actually trying to remember how I just quickly got over here. Also, I think I missed Hurley Black Breath over there. Oh, that's right. I used the that thing over there. I used the mole machine. That's what happened. Derp. Where was the mole machine over here? Was it over here? Now I can't remember where the mole machine was over here. Oh well. Where is he? The guy I'm supposed to find in here is Hurley Blackbreath. To say Blackbreath is a regular at the Grim Guzzler. would be something of an understatement. In over a decade, the mischievous drunkard has left the tavern only once to steal a top-secret recipe for Thunder Brew Lager. Black Breath has occasionally sobered up enough to make the concoction himself, and he claims it grants unimaginable strength and courage. He's got Flame Breath and Drunken Rage. Early Black Breath. Early Black Breath, where are you? Also, is the person, I guess I just turn in right here.
I'm listening.
Up ahead is the Grim Guzzler, a disgusting bar full of all of our enemies, intoxicated and therefore unfit for proper battle. Ripe for the slaughter.
Our time will come.
So I've already fought, oh, I also need to fight Ribley Screwspigot. Screwspigot.
Everyone inside the Grim Guzzler is absolutely hammered, and therefore easily angered. I think we can seriously hinder the Dark Irons by causing a bit of chaos here. I need you to start a fight with 3 of the bar's infamous patrons. Damage the kegs and Hurley Black Breath will come running. Steal items off the table near Plugger Spazring and he'll fight. As for Screwspigot, just talk to the little hothead. Report to Thunderheart when you're done.
Beware the living.
You won't be able to open the back door yourself to escape once you've started the chaos. You'll have to either get the guards to open it by killing the bar patrons, get Rocknot drunk so he causes property damage, or see if Spazring has the key on him.
So, okay, so we go over here and we damage the kegs. Gotcha. And he'll be like, hey, stop it! Get away from those kegs! You'll pay for that!
I don't have a target.
I like how they're all casting Shadow Bolt on me.
Hello, you're just the person I was looking for. Take a seat and listen, because I have a plan that'll make us both rich.
You're good for nothing, Ribley. It's time for you to pay for your wickedness.
No! Get away from me! Help!
What's on your...
Well, can't turn that one in, because Spazring's already dead, but it doesn't know it. Can't attack that guy. Whatever. Alright, let's continue. Alright, so now we're in the final stretch of this dungeon. Just 4 bosses left. Now this path I'm very familiar with because this is the one that I've talked about how I've actually queued into this. The rest of this is just its own separate dungeon when you can queue into. So this is the guy I mentioned earlier. He drops the particular item here for cloth, the Circle of Flame. Ambassador Flamelash. For his unwavering service to Ragnaros, Flamelash ascended to the rank of Ambassador to the Dark Iron Clan. This depraved being initially despised his dwarven allies, but he has come to respect their penchant for destruction. As a show of solidarity, Flamelash guards the Chamber of Enchantment, a sacred location used by the dwarves to empower their weaponry.
Your reign of terror ends now! Face your doom, mortals!
So he summons Burning Spirits to help. And they will move toward him and cast Burning Spirit. And he's got Fire Blast. Yeah. I think that is the pathway to the Molten Core, which, considering all the fire elementals, should you be surprised? But yeah, I'll actually go ahead and show that to you guys. Panzor the Invincible, that is not a boss, that's just an elite here. You would think with a name like the Invincible that he would probably be a boss, but nope. So this next one is interesting. This is another council fight, a little different. You'll notice there are tombs here with ghosts in front of each one. The 7. Centuries ago, Sorcerer Thane Thorason and 7 of his most powerful Dark Iron allies accidentally summoned Ragnaros into Azeroth and damned their entire clan to enslavement. Although the 7 perished during the ritual, their restless spirits still linger in Blackrock depths, cursed to serve their elemental master and the current Dark Iron ruler. So yeah, they will, emerge one at a time and fight you one at a time. They don't really have that much to say other than things like, "You may not pass, you are not our kin, nor have you issued the challenge." You can't go through until you trigger the fight, which you do by talking to this guy, Doomrail. "Our fate is the doom of all who face the great fire. Your bondage is at an end, Doomrail. I challenge you. You have challenged the 7, and now you will die." So Angarel challenges us first. And then Seathrel. Once you kill one, the next one immediately charges you.
I must get closer. Too far away.
So there's Warlord Goretooth. And you'll notice over here, the Molten Bridge. This is the entrance to the Molten Core. Like, in lore. We don't talk to a Blood Elf and he sends us in there. This is the actual entrance to the Molten Core right here. Fire Guard destroyers that guard and protect it. You'll also probably notice some other little areas over here. You go over here and you take this guy down. Not really, like, you can't even go through, but yeah, I could just imagine that's like, used for something else. So you go past these guys. And there you can see is the actual entrance into the Molten Core with the green portal. And this has always made me think about what it was like back in the day, having gone through Blackrock Depths, and you make your way here, and you are now ready to enter the Molten Core to go try and take on Ragnaros. But imagine you can't go in here after taking on the 7. In order to even get inside, to actually get access through here, you first need to take on the Emperor himself, who actually holds on to a way to actually enter the Molten Core. Because without that way, you cannot enter. Now this room, oh my gosh, this room. This room, all this trash, they are quite annoying to deal with. They constantly attack you and you constantly have to fight them off. And you have to do something very specific in order to actually gain access to the next room, which is where the next boss is, who guards where Thorason is. You see this brazier here. So in order to be able to gain access to the next room, you have to light, I believe it's just these 2 braziers in this room here. The Lyceum. There's so much trash in this room. Just think about what it was like back in the day to have to fight through all this trash just to get access to this room. And in order for you to get access to this room, what you have to do is go to these guys who are called Flame Keepers, because they have those Shadow Forge torches. You can see right here. 5 minutes. It only lasts 5 minutes. So then you go over here, and you use it to light this brazier. So then you have to go to the other one, find another Flame Keeper, and they're usually always going to be somewhat nearby where the brazier is. So you can be able to try and get the torch and quickly get to the brazier before it goes out. Remember, you only have 5 minutes to do it, which doesn't sound like that long, but when you're having to fight through all this trash just to be able to not only get it, and then get it to the brazier to make sure it's lit on time before it goes out, all of a sudden it sounds a little harder, doesn't it? So now we go over here with 2 torches, and we light the second brazier. Again, notice how they all aggroed to me. And the doors open. And inside the Iron Hall lies Magmus. Ambassador Flamelash charged the molten giant Magmus with guarding Emperor Dagran Thorason's throne room. But not even this act put the Dark Iron ruler's concerns to rest. Ever fearful of assassins, the Emperor also granted Magmus control over a series of fire-breathing statues outside his royal chambers. So yeah, this room is going to be able to start filling up with fire all around us. So it becomes a pretty dangerous fight. He's also got War Stomp, which is, lots of physical damage, a knock away, and a stun. So yeah, pretty rough fight. I'll go ahead and see if I can show you guys the fire-breathing statues here. You'll see them on the outside. Never mind. So now we enter the throne room. The Imperial Seat. Your efforts are utterly pointless, fools! You will never be able to defeat me! Also notice Twilight Hammer Ambassadors here. Ha! You can't even begin to imagine the futility of your efforts! So, here's the funny part. Notice how that says that is the High Priestess of Thorason. Now, they basically have replaced her model. But back in the days, that was Moira. Like, she may be labeled the High Priestess of Thorason, but that was Moira. Now, here's the funny part. Let me read his thing first. Emperor Dagran Thorason rules alongside Princess Moira of the rival Bronzebeard clan. Debate rages over whether the Emperor ensorcelled his bride, or she willingly joined him. Whatever the truth, Thorason's continued presence bodes ill for the future of his clan. So long as he lives, the Dark Irons will remain pawns of Ragnaros, and a dire threat to kingdoms throughout Azeroth. So, he has Avatar Flame. He becomes an Avatar Flame for 10 seconds. He's immune to all magic and inflicts fire damage whenever he strikes a player in melee combat. He has Iron Foe, which carries a mighty, he carries a mighty hammer, and melee attacks have a chance to trigger 2 extra attacks. He inflicts fire damage to a player and stuns him for 5 seconds with the Hand of Thorason. Moira, again, she's just labeled the High Priest of Thorason here, but pretend that's Moira. She's also in this fight. She is a priest, of course, because we know she's a Shadow Priest from our time with her throughout Legion and onward. She has heal. She'll call upon holy magic to heal an ally, aka Thaurissan. And she has renew and mind blast. Now, I believe back in the day, what you had to do, the challenge of this fight for players, was you had to try and take out Thaurissan without taking out Moira, because she was actually pretty easy to kill. But if you did that, two bad things. One, you would basically fail the quest to save her. Two, it would also cause Thaurissan to receive kind of a very powerful enrage, because you just killed his wife. And so he would basically enrage and kill everybody, and would wipe your group. So the challenge of this fight, and they've actually tried to recreate this in the Hearthstone fight, where if you kill Moira in that fight, he just blasts you for all your health in one attack, and you lose. So what you have to figure out in that fight in Hearthstone is how to take him down while avoiding killing Moira. Because that was kind of the idea here. So yeah. I will crush you into tiny little pieces! So yeah, she will come over and try to help. And that's him popping the avatar, as you can see there. He gets bigger, and he's like just having big AoE damage. And there's Iron Foe he's wielding. Now, this High Priestess keeps attacking you, but again, like, the idea was, like, once you did that, the fight would stop, and she would just be like, "Oh no, you've killed my husband and the father of my child. You know, my unborn child." And depending on what your faction was, she would either curse her father for having called the Alliance and having the Alliance kill her husband, or if you were Horde, she would, you know, basically, like, talk very ill of you and towards you because you're Horde and you just killed her husband. And I think she says something like, "I will always remember that the Horde murdered my husband." Okay, guys, fingers crossed. Nope. No Iron Foe. Someday I hope to get that hammer. I think it looks cool. Even though it's got kind of the old hammer model. Like, even Doomhammer used to look like that. Just that shape, that hammer shape. But the fact that it had that, like, cool little, like, symbol on it, I thought was really cool. So yeah, we have defeated Thaurissan. We've taken down the Emperor. We've saved Moira. So yeah, she leaves, all pissed and upset that we just killed her husband and the father of her unborn child. And yeah, Magni then finds out later about how Moira was upset at us for doing that, and then comes to find out how much they... Oh, now these things light up on fire. Great. So now, as I said, pretend now that we have taken out Thaurissan and we loot something off of him that gives us, the players, access to the Molten Core. We have taken down Thaurissan and many of his, like, leaders, and now, because we have taken down Ragnaros' main line of defense, aka Emperor Thaurissan and his forces, we now have the means to enter the Molten Core and take down Ragnaros. So now, after we've taken down Thaurissan, we make our way back here through that room, and we come to the Molten Bridge, and we walk across and enter the Molten Core. I started my Soul Raid series with that raid. That was before I really knew what I was doing and knew that much. I kind of would like to just redo it, but at the same time I don't want to because I'm so sick of going into this raid. I hate how huge it is and how much I have to run around it. I've been in here so many times farming certain pieces on my other classes to get some of the sets. Including the one on my shaman. I'll even show you guys. I actually finished it. Where is it? Here at the bottom, I think. Where is it? Molten Core. There. No, not Molten Core. I'm sorry. I meant Blackwing Lair. There we go. This is the Blackwing Lair one. I know it looks a little silly on a Volpera, but yeah. I wanted this one because I recognize the shoulder pieces as the ones that Rhaegar wears. So I finished that in Blackwing Lair. Blackwing Lair is not too bad to farm these. The Molten Core one, this one, the Earth Fury one, there's some pieces I wouldn't mind, but geez Louise, trying to actually farm this place is annoying. I was, not to mention I've also gotten both Thunder Fury and Molten Core, which you had to go through here in order to be able to actually get what you needed in order to make those. So let's just say I've had my fill of the Molten Core. So yeah, like I tried to include some stuff in case I didn't talk about it in that Molten Core video. That's kind of part of the story of what's going on there. So now we can be able to take down Ragnaros, before he fully regenerates. We send him back to the Firelands, where we will face him once again later on in Cataclysm. But as far as now Dungeons and Vanilla, we have basically finished, guys. We have finished the classic era of Dungeons, as far as I recall. Now, if you're saying, but what about this other one that's not listed, this other one that's not listed here? Keep in mind some classic vanilla dungeons were remade and moved to other eras. Like, Upper Blackrock Spire was remade for Warlords of Draenor. So it actually makes more sense to do that in Warlords. Plus, I've actually already done a video about this dungeon when I talked about the Leroy Jenkins thing. Now, so, yeah, that was part of the classic vanilla era, but yeah, we have done a video on every single one of these here, including the different wings of Dire Maul. So you guys know what that means, right? It's time to leave the era of vanilla and move on towards the Burning Crusade. And boy, this is where things kind of got more interesting, right? And there's some interesting ones here. Both in terms of what's going on in the burning, in that era. Oh my gosh, I'm actually blanking. In Outland, I'm sorry, in Outland. I actually forgot what this place was called. The Outland, I'm sorry. I had a brain fart there. We'll be going through some of these dungeons in these areas you'll see here that tells the story of some of these zones, like the ones here in the Hellfire Peninsula, these ones here, about, some of the stuff, including the raid there, involving Mac Theridon. I'll talk about that. Some of these have to do with the story of what's going on with Illidan and Kael'thas and all that stuff that's going on. Plus, there's also some dungeons here that you'll see allow us to go back in time, because this is when we started messing around when it comes to things like time travel, like going back to the old Hillsbrad foothills, and I'll talk about that when we get there. And then there was, of course, one more at the end of Magister's Terrace, and I have something to say about that dungeon when we get there that I'm still not too okay with, that a change was made to it in very recent times, which I am not too fond of, and I actually kind of wish I had made a video about that dungeon before that change happened, but unfortunately I cannot. Now it's no longer possible for me to do so. But when we return to my Soloing Dungeon series, we will be moving from vanilla into the Burning Crusade. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Stay tuned.